All right, for ammo today, we have the god-awfulest hodgepodge of leftover ammo. Some of this is 20 gauge, which I will not be shooting today, but just 12 gauge. Some of them are light loads, some of them are heavy loads. There's some steel in here, there's some lead. It's whatever was left over at the shop that Robert could provide to me, and it will be a test of this shotgun. Don't want to shoot the cord. That one did not fire. That was the last one. And she is warm. We got a decent primer dent on there. I don't know. Tried that one again. I think that is the first shotgun dud I have ever experienced in my entire life. So there you go. All right, I've got 8 more rounds loaded up here of the light loads. Recoil is very mild. That Winchester ammo is suspect. Yep, all Winchester. That's the stuff that's not going bang. Interesting development. I loaded one cartridge in the ejection port, hit the release here. I inserted one into the magazine, but I wasn't paying attention. I was talking, and this thing told on me. When I let go of it, that shell is now under the shell lifter, and yes, it will load, it will feed, that should be fine, but I can't load any more. So I'm going to fire these couple and then load some more. Okay, be careful when loading one of these, because this thing will tell on you if you don't get that shell clicked all the way into the magazine. It doesn't cause a malfunction or anything. You end up with one shell under the lifter or above the lifter, but it does mean you can't push the lifter out of the way to load anymore. I'm used to Mossbergs, which are sort of wide open. Those are the ones I shoot the most. What are you going to do? One of these is a Remington Nitro 27 handicap load, probably a very light load. So far, this gun is working through these light loads beautifully, but we'll see. The barrel is now quite warm. I got my thumb on it just there at the end, and whew, it talked to me. Okay, another quirk of this shotgun, if you're thinking about buying one, the tube holds 7 rounds, which is great. But that 7th one, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a tight fit or a snug fit, but there's no extra room. If I try to load an 8th, sometimes you can push that shell in a 1/4 inch or something. No, this one's snug. So depending on who manufactured the shells, if they run even just a tiny fraction of an inch long, by the time you have 6 of them in here, you may not be able to get the 7th one in. I don't know, it's just something to think about. Of course, having 6 + 1 isn't the end of the world. Failure with the Remington. And she is dry. I'll say that this recoil pad, it works nicely, but it is kind of grabbing my shirt. So maybe that's what's intended to do. That may be what you want, but it is kind of sticky when I try to slide it around. Here's a close-up of that Remington shell that did not fire. I'm not going to say that's an ammo problem. That's a very light strike. I'm going to say that this shotgun is not hitting the primers all that hard. All right, I think this is all Remington ammo. Let's try 8 more rounds, see what happens. getting old. Beretta, we gotta talk.
But maybe it didn't like all the puns.
That's fair. Once again, we have very light strikes on these primers. I'm going to say it's not the ammo's fault. Okay, I've switched to high brass heavy loads here. One of them's a 3-inch, some are lead, some are steel. They're different shot sizes. We're going to see how the gun feeds them. We're going to see how much it beats me up when I start shooting them. Try it. Oh, I'm going to tell on myself, I screwed up again and got another shell stuck in here. And what I did was just work the charging handle. I ejected that shell from the chamber into my hand. That fed the one that was stuck in here, and then the one from the chamber I shoved in the tube, and it was fine. Cleared it very quickly. So, you know, it ain't the end of the world if you do that. Oh dear.
Woo! They sound more violent.
They hurt more, I'll tell you that. Okay, so far we haven't had 100% success here. I've got 8 more heavy loads loaded up. We're gonna see how these perform and see how long my shoulder can hold out. All right, got 8 more rounds of that high brass stuff. See what it does to the paper target. A lot. Okay, let's try 8 more. Once again, this is high base, probably hard kicking stuff. At least it's functioning reliably. In that ammo can full of leftover ammo, I did find 1 load of double-aught buckshot. Let's see how this thing patterns. We're at probably 7 yards. It's hard to tell, but these are double-aught buckshot impacts. So roughly here was our pattern. Pretty good. I know I saw a couple of 3-inch shells in here as well, so this is gonna be fun. When I was loading just now, I discovered that this little edge of the plastic handguard was sort of lifted up and was sitting over the receiver, and I just squeezed it, click, and it snapped back into place, but that ain't great. All right, we got at least 1 3-inch in here. We have some of the target left. I think those are 3-inch. This is exactly what I mean. That doesn't seem normal. And once again, we have this thing rearing its head. Also, I can tell you that under recoil from those heavy loads, that safety is actually bumping my finger. It's not terribly painful, but it's not real comfortable either. Here is our shell that misfired. That was a dud. Doesn't have much of a primer strike on it. That's a Federal? I'm not sure who made this. I'm not sure. It looks like a Federal, but in any event, I'm going to say that's the fault of the shotgun more than the shell. All right. My shoulder's telling me I can do a little more, so let's do a little more. And once again, we have this thing. I'm not going to say I hate it, but I mean, this is a gun. It depends on where you buy it and how it's configured. But if you get a new one, I mean, somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. This is not an inexpensive shotgun. This is from one of the most highly regarded companies in the entire world that makes shotguns. This is not great performance. I mean, I'd expect better than this from a Mossberg. If you're going after clever girls, you may want to SPAS 12. Keeps moving around and then I can't see it. Okay, I don't want to shoot through the cords. And that's just what I'm going to call normal now. A few more. Oh my. Cuts. As always, click. Pretty much just going to shred whatever's left of that box now. Click. Okay guys, obviously it's been a mixed bag with this Beretta 1301 today. You know, not a total disaster, total failure, but we had a lot of failures. Had one failure to eject. Okay, it's not that big a deal. In terms of recoil, this is easier than most. Even with those heavy loads, I wasn't being totally punished. After shooting 7 or 8 in a row, the barrel can get toasty. But of course, shotguns like this are so slow to load that we never managed to build up a huge amount of heat. I mean, I never got to the point where I just couldn't touch the barrel, at least briefly, you know, without burning myself. No, I wouldn't want to wrap my hand around this right now and hold on to it. I wouldn't want to do any bayonet drills with it, but it's okay. I don't feel the need for a heat shield or anything like that. Obviously, the biggest problem is all those failures to fire. Why was that? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Very, very disappointing for a very expensive and what's generally thought to be a very high quality shotgun. So, yeah, disappointed. I don't know. Maybe this will get a trip back to Beretta and maybe they can work some magic on it. I can't explain it, but I mean, we had failures with, I believe, all 3 brands of ammo. We had Remington, Winchester, Federal. We had failures to fire. At first it was just Winchester, but eventually it was all of them. High brass, low brass. Seemed to happen more with the low brass loads, but it happened with all this stuff. Nope, not a fan of that. So, well, that's what it is. That's all I can say about it. I certainly cannot recommend this unreservedly. And I thought I was going to walk away from this with a big smile on my face and say, oh my God, you got to get one of these. I don't care what it costs because it's so awesome. No. If I had to defend my life with a shotgun and I could have this or a Maverick 88 for 200 bucks, guess which one I would pick? Actually, if I could have this or a Maverick 88 at the same price, I might stick with the Maverick. Mavericks tend to go bang when you pull the trigger. So disappointing results. I'm going to assume this is not representative of all of these Beretta shotguns. And it wasn't abysmal. It wasn't a total failure, but not great. Anyway, guys, till next time, keep your powder dry. Make a Blink 182 pun if you can. I think we worked in all of them, all that we possibly could. Guys, we'll see you next time.